Hello, boys and girls. Thank you for joining me to do another few pages in your math practice packet. We're going to work on pages 12 and 13. They deal with division, so we're going to do a review of division before we even start those two pages. Before we do that, though, I know a lot of my students love to draw. And since it's spring, can you believe it? We're going to draw something that you would see during the spring, just by some few simple instructions. I'm going to start by making capital T. After the T, I'm going to draw an upside down V. This top part of the T, I'm going to turn into the letter D. And then I'm going to give that top of the D another little bump. I'm going to give it two eyes and antenna. Can you guess what this is? I'm going to come down here and I'm going to give it two spots over here. And then right from where the T meets, I'm going to go out a little bit more and then come down to the bottom and to the bottom. And I'm going to give some spots for our ladybug. And I'm going to draw the bottom of it. The only thing this ladybug is missing is some coloring, first of all. And we all know that it would be red for the wings, black on the dots. Up here, this part is part of its body, which would be black. And these two dots would be left as white. And then up at the head, all black. And then whatever color you want to leave his eyes, maybe just white. And then we need some legs. So I'm going to come out from the top part, go out, down, over, out, down, over. In the middle of its wing, I'm going to kind of go diagonal, down, over, diagonal, down, over, and then another smaller set like we just did. And there's your ladybug. Bye, ladybug. Time for some math. So before we get into those pages, we're going to do 156 divided by 12. And I'm trying to find the quotient, the answer to division. So this that we're looking for is the quotient. This is my dividend, the number that we are breaking apart. And this is my divisor, what we're breaking apart by. So I'm going to do 156 divided by 12. Now we have a ones, tens, and a hundreds place. So 1, 10, 100. And I'm going to use my divisor. Now I see that 100 times 12 is 1,200. 1,200 is definitely larger than this number. So we cannot use this, and that means there is nothing in my hundreds place. Now I have 120. So I can then take 120 away from this. Okay. And when I do that, I get an answer of 36. I could not do another 120 from 36. So how many of those did I use? Just one. That's going to go above the 5 because that is my tens place. And I've only used one of them. Now I'm going to go and do my subtracting by 12 because we are now in the ones place. Minus 12 is 4 and 2. I can subtract another 12. And I can subtract another 12. Now I'm left with nothing. So how many of these 12s did I use? I used 1, 2, and 3. So I put a 3 in the ones place. This is a lot different than how some of the parents were taught in school. And Not a whole lot of my students like to use this way. They like to do the regular algorithm, the way you would know as yourself and had gone through school and been taught. So we're going to erase this, and I'm going to do it again, doing the standard algorithm. Okay. Is 1 larger than 12? No, it is not. So I'm still going to have that x over that. Is 15 larger than 12? It is. I can fit one 12 into the number 15, so I'm going to subtract 12. My difference, my answer to subtraction, is smaller than my divisor, so I need to continue. I bring down my next number, which is the number 6. How many 12s are in 36? Well, if I count by 12s, 12, 24, 36. Now, some of my friends like to list their, they take their divisor and they make multiples, so that way it helps them, and then they can just count it up and say 1, 2, 3. It takes 3 to get to 36. Whatever is going to work for them. Okay. Now, I'm going to change this problem up for just 1 minute. And I'm going to pretend that this said 157. So 157 divided by 12 is going to look different than 156. So when I get to this part and get 37, I would still say that there are 3 that can fit, but it would be 36, and I would have 1 left over. So in this case, my answer would be 13, remainder 1. So now let's look at this. If you went to a party and there were 157 cupcakes, and there were only 12 guests, each guest could take 13 cupcakes, so that way everybody gets the same amount of cupcakes. On the plate, there would be 1 cupcake left over, because you wouldn't go over and want to split that 1 cupcake into 12 pieces to serve your guests. That cupcake would just stay on the plate. Okay. So now we can start looking at page 12. Now, page 12 has some specific instructions, and they want you to check each answer by multiplying the divisor by the quotient. If it's incorrect, we cross it out and write the correct answer. All right, so let's do the very last problem on that page. 1,344 divided by 56 equals 24. We're going to use the inverse of division, which is multiplication, because if I take this whole number here and I divide it by this piece, I would get the other piece. So they're saying that if you take these 2 pieces and do the inverse, or multiply them together, the opposite of it, you should be able to get this answer. Let's see if it works out. So it wants us to take the divisor and the quotient, and the quotient, and multiply those together. 4 times 6 is 24, 4 times 5 is 20, plus 2 is 22. I'm done with this number. I'm done with this space. My second number will start in my second space. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 5 is 10. 1 more is 11. I'm going to add my partial products, which is 224 and 1,120, because remember, this is really standing as a 0. Okay, so 4, 4, 3, 1. Did our final product match the dividend that they had started with? It does. So we're done with this problem. We don't have to do anything more to it. Now, somewhere in the middle of the paper, you have 918 divided by 54 equals 22. Okay, so again, you take your divisor, 54, and multiply it by your quotient. 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10. Done with this number, done with the space. Second number, second space. 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10. Add my partial products together, and I get 1,188. It's not the same. Okay, So that means we're going to cross out the answer on the page that they had given us. And now we're going to solve this together. We're going to do my dividend, 918, divided by my divisor, 54. Okay. Can 54 fit into the number 9? No, it can't. Can it fit into 91? It can. How many times, though? Well, it's not like I know my 54 tables. So I'm just going to use some of my logic here. And I know 50 plus 50 is 100. And that's less than 100. So I'm going to say that it can only go in one time. And 1 times 54 is 54. And I'm going to now subtract. I cannot do 1 minus 4. And a lot of my friends, sometimes when they just go quickly, they write 3 here because they see a 1 and a 4 and they quickly switch it in their head. So remember, top minus the bottom. Okay, so 1 minus 4 I cannot do. 8, and we regrouped. 11 minus 4 is 7. 8 minus 5 is 3. My difference of 37 is smaller than my divisor of 54. I carry on. Okay, 378. Again, that's a big number. Okay, I'm not going to get frazzled. I'm going to think about my 50s. 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400. Well, 400 is going to be too much, so I'm not going to try that. I'm going to try 7. So over here, somewhere on my scrap area, I'm going to do 54 times 7. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 2 is 37. So I have exactly 378, and it took me 7 to get there. I have no remainder, nothing left over. I have nothing left to bring down. I am done. And next to my 22 here, I now need to put 17 because that is the correct quotient. All right, so now we're going to flip over to page 13 or slide down on your computer, whatever you're doing. Okay, and we're going to do numbers 11 and 12. They want you to estimate first, and then you're going to circle all the problems that have an estimate of 30 or greater. Okay, so we're going to do number 11, which is 1,100. It is not 1,100. 1,869 divided by 89 equals. Well, when I'm estimating, I need to use numbers that are going to be easy for me to do in my head. So I'm going to start with this guy. 89 is very close to 90. And I know you might be thinking, like, well, 90s are not easy to do in your head. No, 90s aren't, but 9 is. Okay, so now I'm going to look at this number, and I'm going to think about my 9 tables. I need a multiple of 9 that will help me. So is 1 larger than 9? No. So I'm going to look at my first 2 digits. I have 18. Is 18 a multiple of 9? Well, yeah, 9 times 2 is 18, right? So I can use 18. I can't get rid of their places, but I don't need their value, so I'm going to turn them to zeros. So I have 1,800 divided by 90. And I apologize for my little mix-ups here. I had this video all done, but somebody had called when I was videoing, and it knocked the whole thing out. It was so frustrating. I had to start all over again. All right, so now I have 1,800 divided by 90. I'm going to cross out a 0 from each side, because if you think about it, 10 divided by 10 leaves you with 1. So I'm going to get rid of those right away. Now you might be asking, why aren't you getting rid of the other 0? Well, because I don't have one to match on this side. So now I'm going to look and go 18 divided by 9, we already said was 2. And I'm going to annex that 0. So my estimate is 20, which is not greater than 30. I am done with him. I don't need to do anything more for him. Number 12. 1,798 divided by 29. All right, well, 29, that's close to 30. And again, I have a 3, so I'm thinking of my multiples of 3, and I gotta figure out what's gonna work for me here. 1 is not larger than 3, so I'm gonna go to my 2 digits. 17. What is close to 17 that is a multiple of 3? 3, 6, 9, 12. 15's pretty close, but 18 is much closer. So I'm going to turn this to 18. And again, I don't need their value, but I do need their spaces. So now I come over here, I get rid of the 0 on each side. 18 divided by 3 is 6, and my annex 0, we have 60. 60 is larger than 30, so we're going to circle this problem, and now it wants us to actually solve this problem. So I'm going to do 1,798 divided by 29. 29 goes into 1 no times, because 1 is not larger than 29. 17 is not larger than 29. 179 is larger than 29. Well, if I think of this as 30, and if I think of this as 179, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. I'm going to try the number 6, which makes sense because the estimate that we had was 60. So I'm going to do over here 29 times 6. 6 times 9 is 54. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 5 is 17. I have 174. This answer is not larger than the top number, so I am fine. I'm going to subtract. 9 minus 4 is 5. 7 minus 7 is 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. Done. My subtraction, my difference, is smaller than my divisor, so I'm going to continue and bring down 58. Now again, 30. 30 plus 30 is 60, and that's close to 58, so let's see if I can do 2 of those. 9 times 2 is 18, 2 times 2 is 4, and 1 is 5, 58. So I need 2 more to make 58. We have nothing left over, there is nothing left to bring down, we are done. So we're going to fill in our answer as 62, and it is very close to our estimate, so we did a great job. All right, so that is all for today. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you have a great day, a good morning, a good night, all depending on when you're seeing this video, I guess. And I hope to see you all soon. Stay safe and stay healthy, everybody. Miss you.